Hey guys, my name is Anna. I hope you're doing well. And if you follow me on Instagram and other social media platforms, you know that I don't live in Madrid anymore. Now I live in Stockholm, Sweden. And in this video, I wanted to share why I moved here, what brought me here, and how you guys can also do it. I'm really excited to share this, so let's get started. So first of all, I'm in my senior year of college, so it's the fourth and the last year of my bachelor's degree. And in Europe, there is no such thing as majors and minors as in the US, but my career is art history, and in universities that belong to the EU there's this program called Erasmus that promotes the mobility of students within the European community. When it comes to the benefits of studying abroad, there are so many. The first one is obviously a unique experience that you wouldn't have gotten if you stayed at your hometown. You obviously gain independence, you move away from your family to a completely new place, or maybe a place that you visited as a tourist, and you learn so many things. You dive into this new culture, you make a lot of new friends, not necessarily from the country that you're going to, but also from all over Europe, because you meet students that are also enrolled in the same program and that have decided to go to the same country. So that's one of the coolest things of this experience, and moreover, these intercultural skills are also valued by future employers. So in your curriculum, you might write that you went to this country, you've studied abroad, and that's going to be a plus when it comes to finding a job. When it comes to requirements to study abroad with Erasmus, you must be enrolled in a higher education institution, so a college or university, and you must be enrolled in studies leading to a recognized degree. For students in the first cycle, I have some bad news. You will have to wait, because to go abroad with Erasmus, you need to be at least in the second year of your studies. Your period of studying abroad must be relevant to your degree-related learning. So, for example, in my university, I know that there were some people that wanted to become teachers, and in Spain, Erasmus studies are not valued very much if you want to become a professor at a university. So you must study the 4 or the 5 years, all of the years, you must study them at your hometown university. And there are also some other professions that don't value Erasmus experience. So in my case, it's art history, and I'm very happy that it is valued in my career. Your home university and the receiving institution also must have an agreement for you to study there, because if one university doesn't recognize another one, or if one of them is in the Erasmus program but the other one isn't, you won't be able to go there. You also can't study abroad for 2 consecutive years, so if you went the previous year, you won't be able to go next year, and you have to have at least 80% of your subjects passed at your home university. You must apply until December of the year that precedes the year that you're going to be leaving. So in my case, my mobility started in 2021, and I've applied in December 2020. And in the application, you choose 5 universities. You can obviously choose less, but 5 is the maximum amount that you can choose. And it's better to choose 5 universities, because if you choose just 1 or 2, your chances of participating in the program diminish significantly. That would be a very rare case, but imagine if you choose 5 universities and 4 of them say, oh, we don't want the student, which doesn't happen, but let's just say it happened. But then the 5th university says, oh, okay, we are gonna accept him for a year, and you are still participating in the program. But if you just chose 1 or 2 and both universities said, no, we are not interested in the student, unfortunately, then you are out of this program. In the application that you send in December, you also have to state your skills and the languages that you speak, because that is going to play a huge role for the universities. And for example, my friend, she wanted to go to Italy, and she chose 5 universities, and the first 4 options were all universities in Italy, and her last option was the University of Paris. So since she speaks perfect French, they chose her in the French university, and she ended up going to Paris. So that's why the more languages you speak, the better, not just for this program, but in general. Before the application, you can check the list. It's usually on the webpage of your hometown university, and it's a list where each university states how many students they will be accepting from each university. Usually it's 2, 3, 4, up to 5 if I'm not mistaken. So that's why the competition is quite tough, and it's always better to choose 5 options instead of 2 or 3. Even if your 4th and 5th option isn't your top destination, you should still choose 5 because it increases your chances of participating in the program. In my case, I wanted to course an English speaking program, but I also wanted to live in the capital city, so for me it was crucial. I wanted to live in a big city. In Paris, there were no courses in English that would be relevant to my degree. There were some courses in French, obviously, but my French is not as good yet. In London or in the UK in general, there weren't many art history programs, and the majority of them were for masters. So since I'm doing bachelor's degree, they weren't suitable for me. You also have to pay attention to the conditions of each university. So if I'm not mistaken, in Denmark, I'm not sure if it was Denmark in general or one particular university. In order for you to study there, a Danish student must go to your hometown university. So you don't just depend on the receiving institution and their criteria if they want you or don't want you. You also depend on one particular person, and if no one wants to go to your hometown university, you're screwed basically. So that's why it's crucial to read the conditions of each university and each country. If I'm not mistaken, Erasmus also has a program that allows you to go abroad outside of Europe. So I've seen some American universities, universities in Armenia, Israel, and other countries that are outside of the European Union. But I think that program is called differently. I think it's Erasmus Plus, no, or something, Erasmus something else, and I'm not quite familiar with that one because I'm doing the regular Erasmus within the European Union. So in my case, before choosing and listing different universities in my application, I've conducted a little investigation about the universities, the cities, the location, if it's in the city or out of the city, the variety of the courses, the opinions of previous alumni, and also my personal interest played a big role. So in my case, I chose Sweden, Denmark, Belgium, Ireland, and Italy. So yeah. After you apply in December, in March of so it's basically next year, so March 2021, I was told if I was accepted or not at the university. In my case, I was very lucky and I got accepted by the first university of my choice, and I was so happy. Here's my reaction. Hey guys, today I've received an email saying that I'm gonna go to Sweden. I'm so happy. I'm really excited. I told my friend Alba, who lives in Paris. You guys have seen her in my Paris vlog. We met in La Durée for my birthday, and she is sitting in Paris with the same program. I can't believe that I'm gonna finish university. It's like, you know, these 3 years, it's like I've just started. I feel like I'm still on my first year. Now I have to enter this webpage and say, like, press on accept, that I'm accepting this proposal from Erasmus, from this program to go to Sweden. And yeah, can't wait to freeze my wow, it's so exciting. I can't believe it's true, because like when you imagine it, you see it and it's like, wow, I can't believe it's gonna happen in real life. But yeah, I hope nothing changes and I hope everything goes well and I can go there in September. After receiving the news, you have a few weeks to accept or reject the vacancy. And when you accept it, you get an email from the receiving institution, from the exchange coordinator, and they tell you what to do, what your next steps are gonna be. And my advice is to check your email every single day, because in March especially, you start getting so many emails, and there are a few dates, so they might give you 2 days to reply, and if you haven't accepted a vacancy or if you haven't sent them this document or that document, you might lose the place. So it's crucial to be checking it maybe 2 or 3 times per day. When it comes to the recognition of credits, it's an interesting thing, because in my case, I have applied as if I were studying a regular year at my university. So I chose a specific amount of subjects that had a specific amount of credits. And then in my receiving institution, I have talked to the exchange coordinator and we chose subjects that would be relevant to my degree. But these subjects had to have the same amount of credits. So for example, in Madrid, one subject is usually 6 credits, whereas here at Stockholm University it's 7.5. So here it's going to be less subjects, but at the end of the year you have to have 60 credits or whatever number of credits that your university requires or that you want a course that year. So now let's talk about the most interesting part, the scholarship. Material girl! So the program pays you depending on the country, so if the living standards of a country are considered high, you will get more money, and if they're considered low, you will get less. You still have to pay the tuition at your home university as if you were going to study a regular year there, but you get a monthly scholarship from Erasmus that will help you pay the expenses abroad. And this scholarship isn't intended to cover all of them, so most students also work to help pay for all of the expenses. When it comes to accommodation, you could either live in campus or in a separate independent apartment, whatever you prefer. When it comes to making friends, it's obviously better to live in campus because you have roommates, you have classmates maybe that also live with you or live next to you, and you experience the student life. However, in my case, it was quite different because my studies started in September, well, the 30th of August, but the first 2 months were online, and Erasmus doesn't pay for the months that are online because you can still stay at your home country. So originally I've applied to live in campus. However, they said that they don't rent rooms by months. They only rent the first half of the year, so the first trimester or the second trimester. So technically, even though I was in Spain in September and in October, I would still have to pay for the first 2 months. So it's not very smart, but I also know that some students moved here in late August, so early September, late August, when the courses started, because even though the classes were online, they had this possibility and they rented their rooms for the first semester and the second semester, and they lived there despite the fact that you didn't have to go to classes in person. In my case, I have a friend slash former teacher that lives here in Stockholm, and before coming here, before arriving to Stockholm, I've asked her what web pages she could recommend for me to look up a room or an apartment or something else, like where I could live, because since I was rejected by the campus, I had to find a room elsewhere, and she recommended me Blocket, Qasa with Q, and Bostaddirekt.se. So these are the sites, and I found this room on Blocket, and I couldn't be happier because this is such a, like, the location is perfect, the landlord is amazing, and I'm just in love with this room, and it's so comfortable. And the fact that you basically, like, it doesn't happen to me in Madrid because I don't live in the city center, but here I've been enjoying the fact that I'm like in the city center and I can take a bus, and in 15 minutes I'm in the main square here in Stockholm, and yeah, I'm gonna miss it a lot, and so sad. You guys, by the way, I've counted the time that I have left here in Sweden, and it's just 7 weeks. I've arrived here on the 28th of October, and then I'm gonna leave in June. Even though it's not a complete year, it's like 9 months, 9-10 months. The time flew so fast, and I can't believe that I've been here for such a long time, and everything became so normal. Like, I can't even think like in Madrid terms. Now I think in Stockholm terms, like when it comes to the city, oh, let's meet here at Odenplan or like somewhere else. I don't know. When I'm gonna be back in Madrid, it's gonna be more difficult to go back to the previous lifestyle. I've also heard of some Erasmus students that fell in love with their countries abroad, and they decided to, besides learning the language and the culture, they decided to find a job there. By the way, another important aspect that I forgot to mention is the fact that you have to write your TFG, Trabajo Final de Grado, so it's diploma, like ¿cómo se dice? TFG? TFG in English. Final degree project, yeah. Final degree project. You have to write it at your home university. So it's my 4th year, and while my classmates in Madrid, they're gonna finish the studies, this is their last year, I will have to complete and write the final degree project in Madrid next year. So that might be a disadvantage. I won't have the degree this year as the rest of my classmates. But this experience was so cool and unique that I wouldn't have changed it for the opportunity to be able to write the final degree project this year and finish the university degree. But still, I feel like with quarantine, it doesn't feel like a regular degree because it feels like, you know, just like a few days ago. I've just started. I remember starting the first course and meeting my friends in Madrid. The same as with like this Erasmus opportunity. I remember when I arrived here and everything was so new to me and I was like, oh my god, like how do they do it here? What's a canelbule? I don't even know what that is, and now I'm obsessed. I'm gonna miss canelbule so much. You guys, another change that happened to me here in Sweden is the fact that I've started drinking coffee. You guys know that I'm not a huge coffee drinker. I don't like the flavor. I just think it's, I don't know. I'm more of a matcha girl. You might have heard that, I don't know. But when my mom was visiting me here, which by the way, it's also another cool experience. If I'm not mistaken, if you live in campus, you can invite friends from other countries and they can live in your room, but no more than 2 days. So you can at least save some money, so they can live at, so for example, they arrive for 5 days, but they live 2 of those days at your room and then 3, so it's you're paying less for the hotel. Yeah, you can invite your friends, your family, if they can travel and if they can visit you. In my case, Sweden is quite far away from Spain, so the tickets, the plane tickets are not as cheap as I would have wanted to. I haven't gone back to Spain, but my parents came to visit me and we went to Denmark to celebrate New Year's Eve, which was so cool. By the way, I fell in love with Denmark too. We've stayed there for 3 days and Copenhagen is just outstanding. I love the energy. Even though it's a capital city, it's a lot smaller than Stockholm and it has a different energy. So for example, I would compare Stockholm to Moscow, which is so fast-paced. There's still this like capital city vibe, whereas in Copenhagen it's quite chill, it's more relaxed, and oh my god, it's so beautiful, especially New Year's Eve. I won't forget that because it was so special. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention, that here in Sweden it gets dark very early. It used to get dark at 3:30 when I arrived and it was so different. I've started taking vitamin D pills, supplements, because after Spain my skin was accustomed to the sun obviously, but here was yeah, and it can seem quite depressing, and that's why I've started drinking coffee. Sweden is the country, like it's the European country that consumes most coffee, if I'm not mistaken. I would say that your impressions of Sweden might be very different. For example, if you arrive in November and you leave in March, so that's like the darkest, I would say, time. And it's quite cold also, obviously, because we're up north. But then if you arrive in May and you leave in September, that's a completely different image of Sweden that you will get and that you will perceive as a tourist. When it comes to art, Swedish history is so rich and we went to so many museums, the National Museum, the one at Valdemarsudde, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But that one, it's really cool, and there are swans in the sea. I was gonna say lake, it's a sea. Yeah, Stockholm is very different to Madrid, and I'm so glad that I chose this city and I chose this apartment, and just like, I don't know if I believe in destiny. You are my density. But everything about this journey abroad was so perfect, and except for the fact that the sunset was like at 3:30 or at 3 during winter time. So that's the only thing that I would love to change. I'm so glad that I decided to become part of this Erasmus program, and I definitely recommend it to you guys. So yeah, I hope this video was useful and you found out more about this program, and hopefully your dreams of studying abroad will come true. I'm wishing you luck, and I'm convinced that you will get accepted and that you will go abroad. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you're not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my TikTok. I mostly talk about fashion, lifestyle, and occasional comedy. So yeah, I love you guys so much. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.